Hello and good day. Welcome to the fifth video discussion of STEM Track 1 or Math 1 Pre-Calculus. So this is the video discussion for Module 5, and the topic that I will be discussing for this module is all about systems of nonlinear equations. So after recalling those techniques used in solving systems of linear equations in grade 8, so I believe that during your grade 8 period, nakadiscuss na mo about linear equations and how to solve them. So here we extend these methods to solving a system of equations to systems in which the equations are not necessarily linear. So uh, during your grade 8 period, so there are techniques nga na-encounter na ninyo, which is I believe na familiar na po sa inyo. So those techniques or methods will be going to use for this particular topic na akong i-discuss karon, which is the nonlinear equations. So when you say linear equations, so these are equations that when you graph it or you plot it, it will form a straight line. And for nonlinear equations, so those are equations that when you graph it, it will form a curved line or a circle. So some of those examples are the equations that we already encountered during our first four modules, the conic sections. So those are examples of nonlinear equations. So in this module, the equations are restricted to linear and quadratic types. So involved Japan na tong linear equations, and we introduce quadratic types nga mga equations, although it is possible to adapt the methodology of systems with other types of equations. So there are many types of equations, but here restricted lang ta nga mogamit og linear and quadratic types ng mga equations. So we focus on quadratic equations for two reasons. So first is to include a graphical representation of the solution, and second is to ensure that either a solution is obtained or it is determined that there is no solution. Okay, so first is to graph again. Next is to find the solution or determine that there is no solution of that particular uh, equations. So the latter is possible because of the quadratic formula that we'll be using here. So what are the intended learnings uh, that you're going to expect at the end of this module? So first, you should be able to illustrate systems of nonlinear equations. Next is to determine the solution of the systems of nonlinear equations using the techniques such as substitution technique, the elimination, and lastly the graphing. And for last LILO is to solve situational problems involving systems of nonlinear equations. So of course, we are going to apply what we have learned sa non-linear equations, kay unsa may purpose atong pag-learn no kung dili nato i-apply sa mga situational problems. So first, we are going to review the techniques in solving systems of linear equations. So take note, linear equations lang sa ato ang i-discuss. So recall the methods we used to solve systems of linear equations. So there were three methods used. First is the substitution, elimination, and lastly is the graphical method. So first, we have example 5.1. So we are going to use the substitution method. So recall, so how do we use that? So for this example, use the substitution method to solve the system and sketch the graph in one Cartesian plane showing the point of intersection. So this is the given equation. So we have 4x plus y is equal to 6 and 5x plus 3y is equal to 4. So how do we solve that? So first is we are going to isolate the variable y in the first equation and then substitute into the second equation. So substitution method gani. So we are going to manipulate this first equation, which is getting 4x plus y is equal to 6 So we are going to solve y in terms of x. So dapat ang atong left side sa atong equation is just the y, and the constant o katong other variables kay dapat na siya sa right side sa atong equation. So simply by um, ling i-transfer atong 4x sa other side sa itong equation. So this will become from 4x plus y is equal to 6, it will become y is equal to 6 minus 4x. So gibalhin lang natin si 4x sa other side sa equation. So from positive na negative siya. So we have an equation of y in terms of x. After that is we are going to substitute this y to our second equation, which is kani si 5x plus 3y is equal to 4. So again, we have 5x plus 3y is equal to 4. Then we substitute our y. So copy 5x plus 3. Then substitute y, which is equal to, 6 minus 4x. So we have 6 minus 4x. Then we equate it to 4. Next is we are going to distribute our constant 3 sa itong parenthesis. So we have 3 times 6, that is equal to 18. 3 times negative 4x, that is equal to negative 12x. So the rest, copy lang. Next is we are going to combine similar terms. So the similar terms here are the 5x and the negative 12x. So that is just 5 minus 12. So 5 minus 12x, that is equal to negative 7x. Then we copy 18. Then that is equal to 4. Next is we are going to transfer the constant to the other side of our equation. So that is from positive 18, it will become negative 18. So mabilin na sa pika side is si negative 7x. Then equal to 4 minus 18. So 4 minus 18, that is equal to negative 14. So dividing both sides of our equation by negative 7, so divide natin by negative 7, then we get our x, which is equal to 2. Because negative 14 divided by negative 7, that's equal to 2. So after getting our x nga value, we are going to substitute this x sa ato ang kani nga equation para ma-solve nato or makuha nato ang value ni y. So that is y is equal to 6 minus 4. So our x here value is 2. So that's why we have 2 here. So 6 minus 4 times 2. So we are going to multiply this first. 4 times 2, that is equal to 8. Then 6 minus 8, that is equal to negative 2. Then we have our final answer. So we have x is equal to 2 and y is equal to negative 2. So using the graphical method, so we are going to graph, of course, the two equations sa atong Cartesian plane. So that is, kani, pag-graph ani, so simply just assign points in graphing your equation. So mag-assign ka, so you can do something like this. For example, you have x and your y. So what will be the value of your y if you're going to substitute value sa imong x? So for example, so kaninga equation, kaninga line, so this is similar to this equation. So we are going to assign values. For example, you have negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 4, that is equal to positive 4, plus 6, that is equal to 10. So if our x daw is equal to negative 1, so our y is equal to 10. So if our x is equal to 0 naman, so that is 4 times 0 is 0, so mabilin kasi 6. Then if our x is positive 1, so we have 6 minus 4 times 1, or that is 6 minus 4, which is equal to 2. Then we have x is equal to 2. So if 2 siya, this is 8. So y is equal to 6 minus 8. So that is negative 2. Then you plot this sa imong Cartesian plane. So if x is negative 1, y is 10. So negative 1 na dere. So y is equal to 10. So mga nadari no, layo kayo sa imong x. Sa imong line. So if 0 naman si x, si y is 6. So kung 0 si x, so si y somewhere, man na. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. nga dere. Mali na siya. Ang red di ay nga kwan atong lantawon. So mga naa dere si 10 ana. Next is 1 and 2. 1 si x, so si y kay negative 2. 1 si x, si y is positive 2 di ay. 1, 2. So kung mani siya nga point. Then we have 2 nga x, we have negative 2 nga y. So this is 2x, negative 2 nga y. So mano siya. So if you're going to connect those points nga itong gi-assign, so mo na siya nga line. So mo na yung equation. Paana. So you do the same for the kaning second nga equation. So that is by the use of the graphical method. So the solution to this, if you are asked to solve this system, is the point where your equations intersect. So you have two equations. So kung sila mag-intersect, sila magtagbo, then that's the answer or that's the root. So kani sa duha ka equation, so nagtagbo sila at positive 2 nga x and negative 2 nga y. So that is our answer. Okay? So that is by substitution method. So we move on to the second method, which is the elimination method. So given tag equation, 2x plus 7 is equal to 3y and 4x plus 7y is equal to 12. So how do we solve using elimination method? So we eliminate first the variable x. So tanggalon nato si x. That is by rewriting the first equation wherein only the constant term is on the right side hand of the equation, then we multiply it by 2. So we are going to manipulate again the first equation. So natay first equation. So since ang naa sa right side sa to equation is naay variable nga y, so ato na siya i-transfer sa left side sa to equation. And ang ato ang constant mo na siya to itong ibalhin sa right side sa itong equation. So ngano ingana atong buhaton, that is because ang atong given nga second equation is nakaingato siya nga form. So una si x, si y, then si constant. So to eliminate, dapat the same yung imuhang kalinya bali si imong mga variables. So imuhang x, imuhang y, dayon constant. So that is by you're going to transfer this positive 3y to the other side sa equation, then that will make it to negative 3y. Si positive 7 nga constant, pagbalhin, it will be negative 7 nga constant. So after that, we are going to multiply both sides of our equation by negative 2. So sa tong left side, we multiply it by negative 2. That's why I have negative 2 here. Then sa tong right side, we multiply negative 2. So then we are going to distribute. So negative 2 times 2x, so that is equal to negative 4x. Negative 2 times negative 3y, so that is equal to positive 6y. The same, we have negative 7 times negative 2, that is equal to positive 14. Then we have this final na din nga equation for our kaning given nga first equation. So if you wonder if this equation is just equal to this equation, then the answer is yes. So ato lang siyang gi-multiplyan og 2. So di ba, as I told you always, that if you multiply something sa other side sa atong equation, we have to multiply the same thing sa ato ang right side sa atong equation to make the equation balance, para wala tayong gi-change sa atong equation. Okay, so this will be our new first equation, then this will be our second equation. After that is we are going to add the equation. So this is not always addition, so pwede ka mag-subtract as long as you are going to eliminate one of the variables nga given. So in this case, since positive atong 4x, then we have negative 4x sa isa na to ka equation. Then we are going to add these two equation to eliminate our x. So i-add na to ni sila. Wait lang. Okay, we are going to add this. So negative 4x plus positive 4x, that is equal to 0. So this will be cancelled out. 6y plus 7y, that is equal to 13y. The next is 14 plus 12, that is equal to 26. So dividing both sides of our equation by 13, then we get y is equal to 2. Then how do we solve for y? So I for x, okay, since nanantay y, so si x na po datong pangitaon. So we substitute this y is equal to 2 to any of the given equation to get the value of x. So kani si y, pwede natin substitute na siya dere or dere. So it is up to you, then you will get the same answer lang. So just try it. So for this example, we are going to use the second equation to solve for our x. So we have 4x plus 7y is equal to 12. Then again, our y is equal to 2. So that's why I substituted by 2. So 7 times 2 is 14. That's why we have 14 here. Then copy the rest. Next is to transfer our constant to the right side sa itong equation. So we have 12 minus 14, which is equal to negative 2. Dividing both sides of our equation by 4. This is to cancel out the constant 4. So divide po ni siya og 4. So our final answer is negative 1 half. So our x is negative 1 half and our y is equal to positive 2. So when you plot again or graph those two equations, so this will be the result and they will intersect exactly at negative 1 half x and positive 2 na y. Okay, that is by the elimination method. So na-recall na so saan pagbuhat or solve using those methods. So let's proceed to our main topic, which is solving systems of equation using the substitution method, the elimination method. So these equations are no longer just linear equations. So we introduce nonlinear equations. So we begin our extension with a system involving one linear equation and one quadratic equation. So magbilin sa tag-isa ka linear nga given and ang isa is quadratic nga equation. So in this case, it is always possible to use substitution by solving the linear equation for one of the variables. So it is always possible daw nga magamit kita ani nga method if ang given nato is isa ka linear o isa ka quadratic. So when you say quadratic, nag-involve na siya og kanang mga square. So x squared plus y equals nga na something. So na siya mga square. So example number 3, we are going to solve this system and we are asked to graph in a Cartesian plane. So nadya po'y graphing nga mahitabo. So we have given x minus y plus 2 is equal to 0 and the other one is y minus 1 is equal to x squared. So this is the linear equation because wala siya square nga sa iyahang superscript, sa iyahang mga variables. And this is our quadratic na equation. Okay? So solution, so that this is by using the substitution method. So we solve for y in terms of x in the first equation. So if you're going to use the substitution method, always manipulate the linear equation, which is kaning first equation. So katong linear kay masayon siya i-manipulate because wala siya nag-involve og squared. Okay, for example, imuhang pangitaon ang x in terms ni y. So you have to take the square root of this equation, di ba? Para makuha nimo si x to cancel out. So ma-complicate ang imong equation. Unlike if you're going to use the linear equation already, just like this one, masayon siya i-manipulate. Okay, wala na kay square root nga buhaton. So again, we have given x minus y plus 2 is equal to 0. So we are going to solve for y in terms ni x. That is simply by transferring our negative y to the other side of our equation. So by transferring, it will make your y positive. Then ang sa other side sa mong equation will be x and plus 2, x plus 2. So if you're wondering if x plus 2 is equal to y, if kani silang duha, the same lang ba ni sila? Sir, parehas ra ba na sila? Si y is equal to x plus 2 o si x plus 2 is equal to y? The answer is yes. kay kaning equal nga sign, so pwede ra na magbali-bali kung aha imong right nga kuan aha imong left o right side sa imong equation. So pwede ra na imong baliktaron. Okay? As long as when you are going to transfer something to the other side nga motabok sa imong equal sign, it will become manegate iyahang sign. If it's positive, then it will become negative. If it is negative, then it will become positive. So after that, after solving for y in terms of x, we are going to substitute this expression to our second equation, which is the y minus 1 is equal to x squared. So our y will become x plus 2. So from here, x plus 2. So we have minus 1 is equal to x squared. Then this will become simply just equal to x plus 2 minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is equal to positive 1. So that's why we have x plus 1 is equal to x squared. Next is we are going to transfer x to the other side of our equation and 1 to the other side of our equation. So ang mabilin dari is C, 0 na lang. That's why we have x squared minus x minus 1. So kani silang duha atong gi-transfer sa pika side sa atong equation. Pwede man nato kani ang i-transfer para isa ra ka buok siya, but it will become negative x squared. So ma-negative ni siya, then kani positive. So pwede ra pud Japon na. But to make things easier, ang ang format pod or ang standard nga format sa equation kay always ang nag-una jud nga variable dapat positive. Positive ni siya. So that's why ang x and 1 ang atong i-transfer sa pika side equation. So we have this. So how do you solve for x using by having this type of our equation? Then that is by using the quadratic formula. So quadratic formula, so if you have quadratic equation, so we have a x squared plus or minus bx, then we have plus or minus c is equal to 0. So if you have something like this nga equation, so you can use the quadratic formula in solving for roots or for the value of your x. So the quadratic formula is equal to positive, negative, negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So sir, what are these a, b, and c? So a is your coefficient of your x squared nga variable, b is your coefficient sa mong x, and c is your constant. So from here, we have x squared minus x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then our a here is equal to positive 1. So the coefficient of our x squared, which is equal to 1. b is negative 1. Diba? Kani negative 1. And c is equal to negative 1 also. Okay. So, kani siya nga mga values sa imong ABC, mo ni substitute dere to get your x. So, that is equal to, so negative b. So, negative b, that is negative of negative 1, which will become positive 1. Then, plus, minus, the square root of b squared. So, this is your b. So, you square negative 1, that is positive 1. Minus 4 times a, our a is 1, and our c is negative 1, divided by 2 times a, which is 1. Okay? So, we have 1 plus minus. So, 4 times 1, negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. So, positive 4 plus 1, that is equal to 5. So, that's why we have square root of 5 divided by 2 times 1 is equal to 2. So this will be our x. So sir, unsa man ng plus ug minus dira? So unsa man siya paggamit? So that only means that our x has two values. So ang isa niya ka value is 1 plus square root of 5 over 2. Then ang isa ka value sa tong x is 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2. So meaning there are 2 points that our two equations intersect. So to get the value of our y, we are going to substitute our x. So natay duha ka points sa tong x no katong plus ug minus. Then we are going to use this equation kaning first equation. So i-substitute nato tong x dira to get the value of our y. So pwede ra pod nga dari nimo i-substitute ang imong x to get your y, but this will just complicate your solution since nag-involve lagi siya og square. So again, if our x1 is equal to 1 plus square root of 5 over 2, so ang plus ang atong gigamit, then sa x2 kay ang minus ang atong gigamit. Then our y1 is equal to x plus 2 man. So this is our x. So kani, remember, this is our x plus 2. Or that is equal to 5 plus square root of 5 over 2. So in decimal, that is equal to 3.6. So this is approximately equal to 3.6. Next is, if you're going to use the negative side sa tong x, so that is x plus 2 again, x plus 2. So 1 minus square root of 5 over 2 na siya, plus 2. Or that is equal to 5 minus square root of 5 over 2. Or that is equivalent to 1.4. So ganiha 3.6, kani 1.4. So your final answer will be 2 points. So if you're going to use the positive side sa imong x, then your y is this answer. Then if you're going to use the negative side sa imong x, then this will be your y. So if you're going to plot that, so the first equation represents a line with x-intercept equal to negative 2 and y-intercept equal to 2. So recall again, if you are asked to find the x and y-intercept of your linear equation, that is by simply equating, imuhang iset ang value sa imong x or sa imong y by 0. So if you're asked to find the x-intercept, then you set y equal to 0. So if 0 ni siya, so may mo siyang x plus 2 equal to 0. So you transfer 2 to the other side, which makes it negative 2. So that's why if you're going to find the x-intercept, your answer is negative 2. If you're going to find the y-intercept naman, then you set x by 0. Then you have negative y plus 2 is equal to 0. So you transfer negative y to the other side. Then you have y is equal to positive 2. So you have here. So meaning x-intercept, your y is 0, x is negative 2. Y is 0, x is negative 2. So this is the point, your x-intercept. Y-intercept, meaning your x is 0, your y is positive 2. So 1, 2. So this is the point. So if you're going to extend that line, so muna siya imuhang equation sa imuhang x minus y plus 2 is equal to 0. Then kani kaduha, so this is a familiar na equation sa inyo ha, since we have discussed already the standard equations sa ato ang previous nga mga modules. So this one, we have y minus 1 is equal to x squared is actually a parabola. So we have a parabola with vertex located at 0 and positive 1. Diba? One yung vertex katong, remember, x minus h squared is equal to 4 katong ato. 4 times y minus k katong ato, ingato. So when you plot that, so we have this, dayon duha ka points ang kung aha sila nag-intersect, di ba? Diba? Okay? So, kaning duha ka answer. So, mo ni siya ang duha ka points. Okay, so we are done with substitution. So, let's move on using the elimination method. So, there are cases nga it is better to use the elimination and it is better to use the substitution. So, for the elimination method is also useful in system of non-linear equations, and sometimes some systems need both the techniques, which are the substitution and the elimination to solve them. So for example, we have this following system: y squared minus 4x minus 6y is equal to 11, and 4 times 3 minus x is equal to y minus 3 squared. So again, we are asked to solve for this system, or the points where these two equations intersect. So there are two possible solutions for this problem. So for first solution, we are going to expand the second equation, and we are going to use the elimination method to eliminate our x. Excuse me. So again, first we are going to expand the second equation, which is going to be 4 times 3 minus x is equal to y minus 3 squared. So that is simply kanang distribute si 4. So 4 times 3, that is equal to 12. 4 times negative x, that is equal to negative 4x. Then equal to, we expand this. So again, to expand this is, we are going to square the first term. Then that is equal to y squared. Next is we multiply the first term by the second term. Then we multiply it by 2. So y times negative 3, that's negative 3y. Then we multiply it by 2, that's why we have negative 6y. Lastly is to square the last term. So negative 3 squared, that is equal to positive 9. So this is the expanded equation. The next is we are going to arrange it similar sa ato ang isa ka equation, which is the first equation, di ba? Recall ganiha sa atong elimination method, dapat magkapareha sila forma para when you are going to add or subtract the equations, mas dali siya since arranged na ang imuhang equation daan. So, una, dapat ang atong y squared, since y squared ang una. Next is si negative 4, or si x. So, ang x na to is kani siya. So, when you transfer that to the other side sa atong equation, it will become positive 4x. The next is our y. So, as is lang siya, negative 6. Then, last is our kaning constant. So, since nasya dari nga side, so atong i-transfer si 9 dari sa pika side. So, that is equal to 12 minus, may mo siyang minus 9, which is equal to 3. So, we have this final second equation na dayon. Mana niya itong final nga second equation. Then, we are going to eliminate our x. So, nga na si x ang atong eliminate. That is because dapat ang mabili na to nga variable kay isa lang para ma-solve na to siya. So we have this second new equation, then this is our first given equation. So we are going to add the equations. So when you add them, so y squared plus y squared, that is equal to 2y squared. Negative 4x plus positive 4x, that is equal to 0. Then negative 6y plus negative 6y, that's negative 12y. Then you add 11 plus 3, that is equal to 4. So we have 2y squared minus 12y is equal to 14. And pwede natin siya ma-simplify by dividing our equation by 2. So i-divide og 2, i-divide ni siya og positive 2, i-divide po ni siya og positive 2. So ang mabilin, y squared, so that's why we have y squared. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. Then 14 divided by 2 is 7. But we are going to transfer it sa atong left side sa atong equation. That's why we have negative 7. And that is equal to 0. So we have this na dayon. Y squared minus 6y minus 7 is equal to 0. After that is we are going to factor. So katong balay-balay nga method. So ato ning i-factor na si y squared and si negative 7. So factor ni y squared is just equal to y times y, and si 7 is 7 times 1. But remember that if you're going to multiply, then you add this 2 here, we should end up by negative 6. So, ang atong 7 dapat kay negative, di ba? So, if we're going to multiply y by negative 7, so that is equal to negative 7y. Then we multiply y by 1, that is equal to y. Then if we're going to add this, so negative 7y plus y, so that is equal to negative 6y. Which is equivalent sa atong middle nga term. So, after that, gi-pair na to sila, then we have y minus 7 and isang ka-pair niya nga isa, that is y plus 1. So, yung nga na lang pag-factor. So, we have y minus 7 and y plus 1, which is equal to 0. Okay, kay 0 man siya. Then, after that, we have 2 points atong y, which is y minus 7 is equal to 0 and y plus 1 is equal to 0. So if we solve for y, so y is equal to positive 7, and here we got y is equal to negative 1. Diba? Transfer na to si positive 1 dere, meron siya negative 1. Transfer na to si negative 7 dere, we have positive 7. So that's why we have y1 equal to positive 7 and y2 equal to negative 1. So next, after finding the solution for y, we are going to substitute them to solve for our x. So we are going to use this equation, the second equation, which is kaning y squared plus 4x minus 6y is equal to 3. So again, pwede ra jud japon ninyo gamiton ang first equation. So it is up to you because you are going to end up with the same answers. So we have this equation. Then since given tag y, we are going to solve for x. So tanan y, we are going to transfer it to the other side sa atong equation. So kani si 6y balindare, si y squared balindare. So it will become negative y squared. Then kani si positive 6y mo siyang negative 6y mo siyang positive 6y. Then we divide by 4. So atong duha ka equation, so that's why man siya divided by 4 dere. Then mabilin sa pikas kay si x. So muna tayo atong equation. Next is to substitute our y1 and y2. So if you're going to substitute y1, which is equal to 7, so tanan y, pulihan na tog 7. So kani siya 3 minus 7 squared plus 6 times 7 over 4. So 7 squared, that is equal to 49, negative 49. So 3 minus 49, that is negative 46 plus 6 times 7. So we have equal to negative 4. This is atong numerator divided by positive 4, which is equal to negative 1. Then if our y naman is equal to negative 2, so kani, kaduha na to nga y, negative 1 ay. So we substitute negative 1 sa itong mga y. So we have 3 minus negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1 over 4. Then we have this answer nga negative 1 nga x2. So again, we have two answers. So x1 na to kay negative 1. So negative 1. So y1 is 7. x2 is equal to negative 1. y2 is equal to negative 1. So if you're going to graph that, so actually they are two parabolas that are facing each other. So yung anilang forma. Then, mao nilang intersection. So mao ni siya nga mga coordinates. Lahang intersection. Okay, so sometimes the solution can be simplified by writing the equation in standard form. So although it is usually in general form, which is more convenient to use in solving systems of equations. So moreover, the standard form is best for graphing, di ba? When we are asked to graph, di ba, during our conic sections, kay we convert our general equation to the standard equation para mas simpler ang atong graphing. So, ideal Japon nga dapat uh, i-convert sa nato siya standard equation. But what we did in our first solution, we expanded our equation, meaning ato siyang i-convert into general from standard. So for our second solution, we are going to solve it again, but this time we are going to change the first equation into standard form. So this is the first equation, which is in general form. So to solve it by standard form, I already told you how to do that, 'di ba? So isa nimo ang tanan y, isa nimo tanan x, yun katong rule nga dapat ang coefficient ni y kay katong 1, then ang coefficient ni x i-divide og 2, then square. So just recall those steps in in finding the standard form, then we come up to this one. Okay, so meaning our first equation will be something like this na dayon, then just copy the second equation. So this is our new equations na dayon. So kaganiya atong gibuhat is nag-eliminate ta, but this time we can use the substitution or the transitive property of equality. So since they are both equal to y minus 3 squared, di ba ang duhat na to ka equation, meaning this equation can be equated into this equation. So ma-equate lang sila, kay equal naman sila ani nga value. So meaning our 4 times x plus 5 is just equal to our 4 times 3 minus x. Okay? The next, we are going to distribute 4. So we have 4x. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times negative x, that is negative 4x. Then we combine similar terms. So we transfer this negative 4x to the other side. So we have positive 4x. We transfer 20 to the other side. We have negative 20. So 4x plus 4x, that is 8x. 12 minus 20, that's negative 8. We divide both sides by 8. So we have answer nga negative 1. So substituting this value of our x, which is equal to negative 1, to our second equation, which is kane. So to solve for our y, so we have 4 times kaniya nga atong given, 3 minus x is equal to y minus 3 squared. Then our x is negative 1, so that's why we have 4 times 3 minus negative 1 na x is equal to y minus 3 squared. So negative times negative, it will become positive. So kanig expand na to. So we have square the first term, which is y squared. Multiply the first term by the second term, then multiply it by 2. That's why we have negative 6y. Then square the last term, which is equal to positive 9. Then we distribute, I mean 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. Then 4 times 4 is equal to 16. So we have 16 here. Then we transfer 16 to this side sa atong equation. So that's why we have y squared minus 6y plus 9 minus 16, which is equal to negative 7. Then that is equal to 0. Next is we are going to find the factor niya. So the same nga process ganiya sa pag-factor. So we have this answer na y is equal to positive 7 and negative y. But this time, isa ra ka x ang atong gipangita, which is equal to negative 1. So at x is equal to negative 1, our y1 is equal to 7. And again, at x is equal to negative 1, our y2 is equal to negative 1. So we come up into the same na answers. Okay? So let's have another example. So example number 5, we're going to solve this following system. We have x minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to 10, and x squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 25. So we are going to expand both of our equation, or you can just use the elimination. Depende sa inyo ha, substitution, elimination. So kung asa mo masayunan. So just use the method. So by expanding, we have this result. So gi-expand lang ni siya, gi-expand ni siya, gi-expand ni siya. So we have these new equations. Then we are going to eliminate, use the elimination method. So gi-arrange lang nato si x squared, y squared. Kani wala siya kapares, so kani si negative 10y yung kapares si positive 2y. Then 24 negative 24. Then we are going to subtract. So again, anak ko niyo ganiha, when you use the elimination method, dili siya always nga mag-add lang ta. So pwede po ta mag-subtract. So by subtracting, we have x squared minus x squared. So makancel ni siya. Y squared minus y squared, makancel po na siya. Negative 6x minus 0 is just simply equal to negative 6x. Negative 10y minus 2y, that's negative 12y. Negative 24 minus, positive 24 minus negative 24. So may muna siyang positive, so that will become positive 48. Okay, next is we can divide it actually by 6, since 6, 12, and 48 are factors of 6. So dividing everything by negative 6, so divided siya negative 6, this is equal to 1, so that's why we have x na nabilin. Divide negative 6, so we have 2. And divide of negative 6, that's why we have negative 8. So we have our first equation, new equation, equal to x is equal to 8 minus 2y. So nanataan nga equation. So we can substitute now the value of our x is equal to 8 minus 2y to either of our first or second equation. So for convenience, we are going to choose the second equation. So ato ning gamiton because sa atong first equation, if you notice, naatay duha ka x. So kung kani atong gamiton, mag-substitute ta sa atong x diri sa duha. Unlike sa second equation, isa ra kubok ang x nga atong i-substitute. So mas dali siya nga gamiton. So again, copy the second equation. We have x squared plus y squared plus 2y minus 24 is equal to 0. Substitute our value of our x, which is 8 minus 2y. Then we have squared plus, kani, copy. Next is we are going to expand. So, mo siya yung expanded form. Square the first term, then multiply times 2, then square the last term. So, nga na. Then copy. Next is we are going to combine like terms. So, 4y squared plus y squared, that is 5y squared. Negative 32y plus 2y, that is negative 30y. Then 64 minus 24, that is equal to 40. Next is we are going to factor. So factor ni y squared minus 6y plus 8 is equal to 0. So factor ni y squared kay y times y. Factor ni 8 is 4 and 2, di ba? 4 times 2 is 8. So since ang middle nato is negative 6, so this should be negative and negative. So negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. So true lang dyan po ni siya. So if you're going to multiply this one, so we have negative 4y and negative 2y. So you add this one, so negative 4y plus negative 2y, we have negative 6y, which is equivalent sa itong middle nga term. So ang factors ti ay kay y, so pares ni sila, minus 4 times y minus 2 is equal to 0. Or kani, nakasulat. Then we solve for our y's. So sa itong pika side is we have y minus 4 is equal to 0, or that is y is equal to positive 4. Diba? Pag transfer ni mo dere. Then we have y minus 2 is equal to 0. Then we have y, pag transfer sa pika side, we have equal to positive 2. 2 plus 0 is equal to 2. So we have two values of our y's. We have y1 is equal to 2, y2 is equal to 4. So pwede rin yung magbalik baylo-baylo. si y2 kay kani siya si y1. Then you have two values of your y ay kani siya isa y2 din yung isa. Sorry. Then we substitute this sa tong equation sa tong x, which is x is equal to 8 minus 2y. So tong y dere is can be 2 or 4. So that's why we have 2 or 4. So negative 2 times 2 is 4. 8 minus 4 is 4. 8 is minus 2 times 4, that's equal to 0. So we have our two equations, x1, x2 na siya. So x1 is 4, y is 2, x2 is 0, y2 is 4. So we have this final answer. Then ang ilang graph, aning duha is a circle with radius nga kani. So isa niya ka radius is square root of 10 and isa is 5. So we have this radius, square root of 10 and 5 nga circle. So muna yung graph. So nag-intersect sila aning kaninga points, duha ka points. So since duha tong solution. So last section of this module is about the application of these systems of nonlinear equations. So dali ra kayo. So as we expect, system of equations are important in applications. So for this section, we are going to consider one of them. So for example, the screen size of television set is given in inches. So naka-inches, 'di ba? If you notice, if mulantaw mo mga TVs kanang mga baligya nga mga TVs, 'di ba, ang ihatag man na nila nga screen size sa mga TV is in inches. And this indicates the length of the diagonal. So kung mayroon kag 32-inch nga TV, so kung nakay TV, 'di ba? Of course that is rectangle nga TV. Then ang diagonal niya mao na siya ang 32-inch nga pasabot. So dili ang iyang kalapadon. Ang iyang diagonal dapat mao na siya ang gina-measure. So if kanang laptop nga 15 inches nga laptop, so ang diagonal ang gi-measure ana, dili ang kaning horizontal nga pag-measure sa iyang length. Okay? So kung naa kay 40 inches nga LED TV, so if imo nang sukdon, so dapat pa-diagonal ang imong pagsukod. So screens of the same size can come in different shapes. So dahil klase-klase ng mga shapes sa TV. So widescreen TVs usually have screens with aspect ratio of 16 by 9 nga ratio. So when you say ratio, di ba, pasabot na kay fraction. So na siya ratio nga 16 by 9. Unsa man ni 16? 16 is the width nga ratio and kani si 9 is your height. So width meaning kani mo na siya imong width. Dayon, this is your height sa imong television screen. Okay? So 16 by 9. So older TV models often have aspect ratio of 4:3. So mas gamay man ang mga TV sa una. So 4 ang width, ang height kay 3. More on murag medyo square siya lantawon ang mga TV sa una. But karon ang aspect ratio na sa atong TV screen is 16 by 9. So if we have a 40 inches nga LED TV and has a screen aspect ratio of 16:9, then what is the length and width of the screen? So unsa ang ang length meaning ani niya is the height and ang width is the width niya. So length is height and width is width. So unsa daw ang iyahang measurement if naatay 40 inches nga TV with an aspect ratio of 16 by 9. So to solve that, we are going to formulate equations para ma-solve nato na siya. So by using the Pythagorean theorem, so you can use Pythagorean theorem if you have a right angle nga triangle, meaning one side of your triangle is 90 degrees. So sa TV, so kung nakay diagonal, kani nga diagonal, so that will pass sa center sa imong TV. So it will form a right triangle. So meaning you can use the Pythagorean theorem as one of your equations. So this is 90 degrees. So Pythagorean theorem, we have our side, kaning isa ka side or height nato squared plus ato ang kaning width squared is equal to its diagonal kani or atong hypotenuse. Di ba mo man na our uh, opposites nga side, we square the opposite side plus the adjacent side, that is equivalent to our hypotenuse. Di ba nga naman na pag-solve? Katong a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So kaning mong a squared minus siya yung b squared and then c squared. So our a squared here is our height. So we have h squared kani. Then our b squared is equal to w, which is our width. So we have width squared is equal to our c squared or kani atong hypotenuse, which is equal to 40 squared. So sa itong example, we have 40 inches. Mamanang gihatag dali, 40 inches. So 40 squared, that is equal to 1,600. So we have this first equation, w squared plus h squared is equal to 1,600. Then, where can we get our second equation? That is by using the aspect ratio. So aspect ratio nato is 16 by 9. And 16 is equivalent to width and 9 is equivalent to our height. So that's why we have width over height is equal to 16 over 9. Diba? When you say ratio, that is fraction. So maunang natay 16 over 9. Then we solve for our h. So atong h, so i-multiply lang nato dari, then si 9 i-multiply nato sa taas. So again, h from denominator, i-multiply nato sa numerator, si 9 ibalihin nato dari sa numerator. So that's why we have 9w over 16. Di ba? Kaya mo siyang 16h. So para wala si 16, i-divide nato siyang 16. So that's why we divide it by 16. So we have two equations now. So because we are asked for two unknowns, which are the width and the height, so we basically need two equations to solve two unknowns. So we substitute the value of our h, which is 9w over 16, to our first equation. So wala tayo choice since naka-squared silang duha. So pwede ra pod in terms ni w imong isolve. So you still get the same answer lang. So from here, so we have w squared plus our h, again that is 9w over 16 squared is equal to 1,600. Then you square the numerator and the denominator. So 9 squared is equal to 81. Then 16 squared is equal to 256. Ano na 300? 81 na siya. 37 na siya. So we have 81 w squared over, ay dili. Sakto din eh. So 81 w squared over 256. Then we add 1. So 1 plus 81 over 256, that's why we have 337 over 256. 1 man siya, 1 w. Then w squared mo po siya. So 1 plus 81 squared over 16, ay 256, that is equal to 337 over 256 w squared. That is equal to 1,600. So you multiply this 256 by 1,600. 256 times 1,600, that is 409,600 kani. Then you divide by 337 to get our w. Then we are going to square it. Kay naka w squared man eh. So square root niya, so that is approximately equal to 34.86 inches. Then sa height naman, so just use the second equation, then substitute the value of your W. So you have 9 times 34.86 divided by 16, and that is approximately equal to 19.61 inches. So therefore, for a 40 inches TV with aspect ratio of 16 by 9, that is about 35.86 inches wide and 19.61 inches high. Okay, iyang height. So for your seat work, answer this following uh, problem. So 1, 2, 3. So that's seat work 5. Then assignment 5. So answer 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have questions, just message me in Keeper or in Messenger. So that's all for this module. Thank you for listening.